Titan's grip.
Let's go, Ricky.
Mountains crumble, the earth does flip. The crowd stands stunned, they feel the quake. Ricky Spanish, there's no mistake. From Spain's heart to the whole wide world, the flag of courage he's unfurled. His mask a symbol, his strength untamed. Ricky Spanish, the world proclaimed.
Nice.
Ricky Spanish, born in the sun, chasing bulls just for fun. From Madrid streets to a dusty plain, the legend grows across Spain. Ricky Spanish, the man of might, flipping the moon with a single fight. Bench press the stars, Everest next. The crowd roars loud, the hero flex. He wrestled shadows, he danced with fire. His humble start lit the empire. From top of stands to the grandest ring, the echo shout his name, they sing. Ricky Spanish, the man of might, flipping the moon with a single fight. Bench press the stars, Everest next. The crowd roars loud, their hero flex. Whoa, Gandoka. Whoa, Gandoka.
Let's go. Let's go, Ricky.
From humble hands to a titan's grip, mountains crumble, the earth does flip. The crowd stands stunned, they feel the quake. Ricky Spanish, there's no mistake. From Spain's heart to the whole wide world, the flag of courage he's unfurled.
So now what I'm going to do, this is kind of the educational part of the video. I'm going to talk about each of the lifts that we did or tried to remember and best give my feedback on what happened in training versus what happened at contests, and maybe we'll be able to learn something and pull something from here. These are just my thoughts on it. So first up, we're going to talk about the log press. So with the log press, when I started this 10 weeks ago, my log press was about 270 to 290. I think the most I had in me at that point was 290. And so in 10 weeks, I trained it 3 days a week, doing a strict press, as you saw at the contest. I would do, I think it was like a band push. I did a couple other variations. I'm trying to remember what they were. Strict press with a log, push press with a log, viper press with a log. Those were the 3 rotations. I would do those, each of those lifts once a week. The next week I would just keep going those, and every one of those, the weights would go up to a top set or an ascending set, doing like sets of 3 or something. That was the training for it. So overall, I think that worked very, very well because it added on 50 pounds to my overhead in that 10-week span. At the 8th week, 10 weeks being like the contest day, at the 8th week, I did hit the 340 for 1. It was like heavy. It was definitely a max. It moved very well though. Unfortunately, I did not get it on tape or recording. And I mean, we were in a circuit class, so you could ask the people in the circuit class, but some of them saw it, but Lance and Regina did not see it. but they had their backs turned. But it was done. I did do it. But the trick that with that and competition is that the competitions, when you're doing the log press, that's like at 100%. Ideally, whatever the weight is, you want it to really be about 90% because that's more reliable. You can hit it more reliably. So with me, having that 340 being like absolute 100%, there's going to be a lot of like, how well are you going to peak this? How well are you going to recover? How well are your muscles engaged? Is your form good with it? The log I was using was a pit bull log made out of Kansas. The guy doesn't make those anymore, I don't believe. But those were the logs I was training on. The log we were using here was a Texas Power Concepts, I believe. The log empty was 170, so it was about 80 pounds heavier than the log I train with, like empty. And what that does is the weight, when you set on it, more of the weight sitting on top of you instead of out to the sides. Does that play a difference into it? Maybe. Technically, or typically, like with an axle, I know if the axle is thicker, I press with it. I guess maybe that's not the case with the log. But honestly, when I was doing it, the log and everything, like everything about the log felt pretty stable. When I was first warming up at the contest, I felt very unstable, very shaky, very wobbly. But when I put on my equipment, like my belts, my gear, my sleeves and all that, that went away and I felt pretty stable. So I don't know if there was just any like, did you build up to it or peak too soon? I don't know. I got a 310. 310 moved kind of challengingly, but it moved. It was like heavy, but not maximal. So I would say I was probably about 10 pounds shy that day. Like it had a pop, it got off the chest. So the legs were popping, they were moving. The triceps just weren't strong enough to carry it through. So really, that is what it is. Can't do a whole lot about it other than train for a stronger press, stronger triceps. Like, I don't know. Moving on from there, we go into the deadlift. Yeah, pretty sure it was a deadlift. So I think it was like a skid steer deadlift. The thing looks like a bobcat with wheels. That's what we call them in the Midwest, at least. That's what I grew up with them, bobcat. But so we had to deadlift this thing. The deadlift apparatus was a straight bar, like a thin normal barbell bar. I was using an axle bar the entire time, like in training. When I was doing it in training, we just had this gigantic overbuilt like car platform. We just rolled everything. I just put tires on it and sleds on it, or not sleds, tires and sandbags on it. I'll put a video up so you can see that. But that's what I was doing in training. That's the setup in training. And then when we get to this thing, it was similar to it. All the weight was in the back. I think the base was a little bit wider, but I thought the car deadlift was incredibly easy. When I was picking it up for the first few reps, I was kind of confused. I'm like, am I doing this right? Like, is this, like, what's going on here? Like, I thought this was like an 800 or something. Like, I was prepared to pull very, very, very heavy. Had they lowered it, maybe it was different, but there was a whole lot of whip in it, and maybe it was just like my mechanics or something, but I got 15 reps. I did 16 technically, but they said they didn't count one towards the end because I think he was doing a down command. I was just in his cadence, but I went too soon and didn't get it, but that's on me. I needed to listen better. But I probably could have popped out, 4 more had I been like in it at the beginning, but I was kind of a little confused because I'm like checking myself. I'm like, is this correct? Because I was expecting a way heavier pull. Had it been a heavier pull though, I think the training that I was doing leading up to it would have been good because I didn't feel like any pain. My back didn't hurt. My lats felt engaged. Everything felt really good while I was doing that deadlift. So if they had added more weight, I think I would have been good for it. Moving on from there, I believe it was the tractor wheelbarrow thing, and the rope pull. So the tractor, that was really, really cool. To say, are you excited to see it in new shows? I don't know, but I would like to see Strongman do more cool shit like that. That was really neat. So the handles on the tractor were very, very small. Like you have like your normal standard. The handles on the tractor were kind of similar to this broom handle, maybe even a little bit smaller than that, right? So imagine having all that weight in your hands. It was just straight pain the entire way as we were carrying it, which I'm kind of down for. Like, I don't know, I like it to like push you mentally and physically and everything. So that was like fun. But the weird part about the tractor is the pick was light. The pick was not the problem with it. It was easy. It was pushing it because you had to like pick it, wedge yourself in kind of at this angle and really get those feet chopping and going. Because the tractor had it had the back wheels is what you were turning. They had like hydraulics or something in there. So you were fighting against that to get it going. If you went slow, those things weren't going. If you could like speed up your steps and really get it moving, so you would do short short burst steps, and then you can work towards the end to go longer, right? Because you would get more momentum behind it. The first guy who went with it, I believe it was Joey, forgive me if I'm butchering this, Joey Satsmary, I think he won that event, but like when he did it, he just did that same thing, short, choppy, and then got longer. He had so much momentum in this, like it almost plowed into the crowd. He like dropped it and it was like scooting back. The guys had to like get in there and put their hand on the brake to stop it because it had so much momentum carrying through with it. So it was like, okay, he kind of set the pace of like how to do it. Then you would run back. You had to run all the way back, not set off a laser sensor. So we ran back down the track, crossed over, grabbed the rope, and would tug that. So in training, I trained this thing way, 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 way too hard. Probably should have had more speed with it. I was thinking we were going to do like something incredibly heavy. I thought we were doing like the Bobcat maybe, pulling that. But it was a tire with the guy in it. So this friction with the floor and the rubber, I mean, it was all right, but it was not what I was training for. I was thinking like way heavier at this show because it didn't really say what we were doing. I was just expecting something incredibly heavy, but this was more of like, you got to pull fast. So, I mean, I think I pulled it decent for like in training. I just, grab and tug and go as fast as you can. So I have no complaints with that one. I think my training, how I was training for it was like the best I could probably have done for it. To account for the hydraulics of that tractor, I mean, other than lifting a tractor, I'm not sure how to better train for something like that, but maybe if we know we're doing a tractor, maybe that's something we do, is some sort of weighted forward farmer walk or wheelbarrow walk or something where or maybe like pulling a sled while pushing a wheelbarrow. That could be something. Pick up a wheelbarrow, yeah. That's something to note. Wheelbarrow push while pulling sled. That might be money. Okay, so moving on from there, we went into, I believe it was yoke. Yeah, yoke. Yoke was next. So that's 3, 4, yoke. The yoke, I think, was my most impressive like performance of the day, personally. Like that's the one when people are like, what are you most happy with? I'm happy with that freaking yoke. So here's the backstory with the yoke of why I'm like so proud of this thing. Maybe not proud, but like happy with it. So the yoke typically is like my weakest lift. I could move with it a little bit, but my ankles are just so like flat and maybe underdeveloped and destroyed. We're working with those now, or after the contest is done at least, because I couldn't really do anything through the contest because it's like you don't want to really try to rebuild your feet when that's not going to carry over into the contest. So it was really, we bought these Chris Vaccio recommended original SWAT boots. I got the high top ones to really cast up the ankle. Those are the best boots. They helped me get around on these flat, destroyed ankles like all week, this whole trip. I was wearing them because we did a lot of walking. The whole training, I was using these for every moving event. And while they were on, I had 0 foot pain, like nothing, nada, none. And for the first time while training with the yoke, I was able to actually train with the yoke without feeling like my feet were stepping on glass or having sharp shooting pains or shin splints. Like none of that was present with these boots. So I was actually able to train the yoke for the 10 weeks I was doing this. How I trained with the yoke, I trained it every second week. So I'd go week 1, I would do yoke. Week 2, I would do Conan. Week 3, I would do yoke. Week 4, I would do Conan. And I would just go back and forth like that to keep the fatigue down because both of those lifts are very fatiguing. Let's make sure my mic's on. Cool, mic's still on. I had that drop on me. I don't want to go through that again. But going back to the yoke, and then training, another thing I did was after every session was basically a max out session. It was just like do the heaviest yoke you can for 40 feet and then add 100 pounds to it, pick it up, hold it for 3 picks of as long as you can. That was just to build up the spine and like the shelf and the strength for getting familiar with holding that. Because it's like not only walking with it, that's not just that's the hard part, but even holding it for me is the hard part because it just crushes my spine so much. So that was the practice I did in training, and I think it really, really paid off. In training, the most I've ever walked with a grand was about 10 steps, so I'd say about 10 feet is what I got. In the contest, I got 40 feet with that weight, and so I'm like super stoked, and it moved way better than it did in training. The first time I touched a grand in training was like 6 weeks out, and like I couldn't even step with it, and I'm like, this is probably going to be a 0 for me, right? I was not convinced I was even going to finish this thing or even start this thing. It's like I could pick it, but that's about it. So 3 weeks out, I got a grand, and I got it to move 10 feet, and I'm like, okay, maybe like this thing is progressing. But when I first started this training, like 600 pounds was my maximum. I picked that 600 up and I'm like, this was the heaviest thing I have ever felt on my spine. The most before this that I have ever walked when I was actually training, like training yoke, I think was 810 for about 10 feet was my best. So a grand for 40 is like massive, massive, massive PR. Super stoked about that. And it moved pretty well for me too. So I'm very happy with that. After that was the Conan's wheel. So the Conan's wheel in training, I got up to 1,000 pounds for one rotation. This Conan's wheel was different than the one I was using in training. I think I could have done a little bit better on this Conan's wheel. Like you just do the event and you're like, I think I had more in me sort of thing. I didn't do terrible. I got a rotation and a quarter, but I think I think I shot myself in the foot a little bit because I didn't prepare my diaphragm for it. So for me, at least, when I'm loading that on me, it like sits right up in here on this shelf, right on my stomach, and it's just all that weight on it, right? And you're just kind of holding it there. So if I grab it and kind of like preload it, not even moving with it, just get it up there and feel it, that kind of gets everything ready and going. So had I got up there before before they started running everybody and just loaded it with some people, I think I would have done much better on that event. I probably would have gotten 2 rotations, maybe even 2.5. Because as soon as I pick it up to load it, I'm like, it felt like I needed to set it down and repick it immediately just to like get my diaphragm used to it or set for it. But I was just like moving, I was moving slow. Like I could move faster than that. I was just like trying to like keep from passing out basically. Cause it's like on me and I'm like, it's on me wrong. I feel like it's on me wrong. I feel like I need to set down. And if I pick it up again, I'll be like more ready for it. But my body was already like, no, we're going. And what I should have done was pick it because they allowed you 1 drop and you can repick. What I should have done was pick it, drop it, repicked. And I think I would have done, that would have been a better plan than just, go through it. So these are just things to keep in mind for the next time this shows up. So, mental note. But overall, like it wasn't a terrible performance, especially for that yoke. It was a thicker, like the bar was thicker on it. The weight may or may not have been more. Like the weight felt all right. It was definitely challenging, but it was mostly just like, I think I improperly set it on me. Then I think the last one was the sandbags. So the sandbags, the time I believe was like 42 seconds. I'm not sure on the time really. A lot of people started heaviest to lightest, which I think is a good plan, but the sandbags I was not training a whole lot because my goal originally going into this was just to make it to the sandbags. We had like 17 people and I'm like, okay, these are some very high class people and these bags are very heavy for me, right? Like it was a 280, 320, 350 bag. And I'm thinking to myself, like the most I've ever picked was a 320. Like 350, I tried it at a show one time. I got it kind of in my lap. That was a struggle, but I could not take it to shoulder. The bar was 52 inches. So that's really not that high. It's about here on me, maybe somewhere in here. But anyway, like if I was carrying it in that front way, this is how I should have trained it because it just would have made everything else stronger. But I was thinking, no, we need to do this faster. And because I know my weakness for this way is because I'm shorter, I can't clean it. Like it's really hard to clean those heavy bags for me, especially when they're that wide. So my strategy was we're going to shoulder it because I have these long arms. So I'm like, let's just wrap them around the bag, use your hips. That's my strong suit. Get it on my shoulder, run over, crash into the thing, and then just drop it. Like to me, it was like you're taking a step out of it. So if you get faster in that, then it's like, that's your best bet. So the shoulder thing, that was my best bet. So I went with it and that's what I trained. I did not train it as hard as I should have, or probably even could have, because my back was just so spazzed from training everything else. Because like to me, it's like where I really needed the help was like, we got to get through everything else first. And then the bags are last priority because you got to make it to the bags first before you even do them, right? So mental note is train the bags more, just with everything. I'm about to go into like a bodybuilding phase, building your base phase and stuff. Sandbags are just always going to have to be present in everything that I do. And I think that's just good conditioning. It's just good all around, just strength building. So we're always going to have sandbags in anything that I do. I think from now on, sandbags or stones. Any more notes on that? Right, performance-wise. So in training, the biggest bag I think I had was anywhere from a 300 to a 320. It's this big Titan bag. I don't know how much sand's in it because we broke the scale. What was in it originally was 300, and I just put a bunch of sand in, as much sand as I could in that thing. So we're really not sure how much that thing weighed. But I did a warm up. Instead of going heaviest to lightest, I went lightest to heaviest because I'm like, I need to prep my body for this. So every bag I did working up to that 350 was kind of like a warm up for it. So loaded the 270, got that over, got back, loaded the 300, got that over, got back, 350, loaded that, went over, got back. I'm like doing this thing. I'm like, that 350 is not going. Like, I'm not getting that 350. I thought for sure, like, I just got to finish this thing, right? But I did it. I got a decent time, and that was like a pretty big PR for me. So very happy with that. Did not advance to like the second round or anything, but the plan going into this thing, because you had to do one round of it, and then whoever got the best 4 times from that would go on and do it again. Best 4 times from that would go on and do it again. Sandbags destroy me. They just like wear me out more than anything. Come that day, like if I had to do it again, I think I was ready to do it again. I think I had the conditioning and the energy for it. But in training, it's like, man, that was just the kick and the nuts at the end of every day. Like I would do one run and I'm like, I'm out. Like I'm out of gas. Like I cannot get up there and do it again. I would try to will myself and do all the things. It was just like, you're weak, you're depleted. It's just not happening. So yeah, sandbags I think are going to be a big training and conditioning tool moving into future sessions. But overall thoughts on the show was it was incredibly well ran. We had a couple people drop out, so it was a much smaller show than anticipated. But that wasn't necessarily a bad thing because, like, I mean, the warm-up times for it were great. They had plenty of warm-up equipment. I've never been to a strongman show that has let us warm up like appropriately as much as that show. We went to one pro show, and they were like, "No, you're pros. You should be ready to go at a moment's notice without any warm-up." And we're like, yeah, fuck you, lady. Like, no, that's not how this works, right? It's like, you're going to get injured. And only 3 people did get injured, but at these weights, I think some of them were coming with injuries. One of them got injured really, really bad, so prayers to him. But for most of it, though, it was a great show. They gave us the warm-up times. That helped a lot. Like, I think that helped keep injuries down, because if we had to jump into a lot of this stuff cold, it's like, nuh-uh, sir. Like, you would see a lot more injuries, I believe, especially at this level, because these weights are very similar to like what you would see in the World's Strongest Man, I believe, especially like a few years ago, like they were doing the same stuff. Now the shows in the World's Strongest Man are just that circuit, or you got some that are way heavier than this and some that are about this. But to say anything lighter, like, I think this is about that level. There's like 340, 380 logs, even for our class. Like, that's incredibly heavy. What else? The yoke, the 1,000-pound yoke, like they're still doing that up in there. That's a heavy yoke. Or even at like the USS Pro, like when you're at the pro level, like they're doing those yokes. So I guess it's consistent across the board. But yeah, great show, good time. I think the training itself, the reason of even doing the show was to really kind of like push the limits, give yourself like a big test that you have to prepare for and everything, and just really drive your body, your progress, your intensity in training, and just to get better. It's like a catalyst to get better. And I think it definitely achieved that, because overall it's like increased 50 on the press, you have increased roughly 300 on the yoke, increased about 300 on the Conan's wheel. Wheelbarrow, I've never done that before, as well as the arm over arm, but we got better at those things, I know that. And then sandbag increased probably 30 pounds in terms of like a max, sandbag to shoulder, but that was after 3 of them. So sandbags even got better. Am I missing anything? I might be, but for now, I think that's the end of the video, and that's kind of all my thoughts on that. So yeah, till next time, bye.